Today is a very special day and I am super excited to be sharing a new cigar smoking experience with all of you watching. As you know, I pair a lot of different cigars and spirits, or I have over the years of doing the Cigar Vixen channel, and so along my journey, I have found something that is really special and somewhat out of the ordinary, I guess you could say, and that is with the very special royal pairing of the Highclere Castle Gin and the Highclere Castle Cigar. For today's video, I'm going to be featuring the Highclere Castle Edwardian and a very special gin Highclere Castle Martini. When most of us think of pairing our cigars with spirits, gin doesn't normally stand out as one that you would naturally gravitate towards. However, in smoking a lot of different Highclere Castle cigars, both the Edwardian and the Victorian, I found that the Highclere Castle Gin actually serves as a palate cleanser. It really changes your overall smoking experience because it enhances the cigar natural tobacco essences that it carries, but it also brings a very refreshing enjoyment to the overall pairing experience. I am, again, very excited to be teaming up and pairing here these beautiful cigars and award-winning gins. And I have done a review before. In the past, I did a review of the Victorian, and I believe I just had the gin over ice, which is a great way to experience it. However, for today, I'm going to be smoking the Edwardian and pairing it with this beautiful martini. Now for my martini, I didn't go with the traditional olive. I actually like to put just a little orange zest sliver in there because it really brings forward the citrus notes that are naturally found in the Highclere Castle Gin. Cheers. So I'd like to tell you a little bit more about these two pairings that I'm going to be taking a closer look at today. So Highclere Castle Gin and Highclere Castle Cigars was created by spirits entrepreneur Adam von Gutken. 6 years ago, Adam formed a partnership with the Earl and Countess of Carnarvon, owners of Highclere Castle in Newbury, England, where a strong friendship with creative ideas and award-winning brands were developed together. Highclere Castle Cigar, as you well know, was blended and released by world-renowned cigar blender Nick Melillo through his Foundation Cigar Company, one of the most well-regarded boutique cigar houses out there. I do a lot of cigar smoking with Foundation cigars, and I talk about Nick Melillo all the time. He has a tremendous palate, as does Adam. And so when the two came together alongside the Earl and Countess of Carnarvon to create this beautiful Highclere gin and then the Highclere Castle cigar, of course, it's just, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer that you would want to pair them together. However, the gin, taking a little bit of a closer look at the gin itself, it just has some tremendous history. I mean, for me, every time I light up a Highclere Castle cigar, it's like taking a walk down history. It's elegant. It also is a very refined type of a smoke, but it does carry, again, with that with the background of the castle always kind of in my mind, even though I haven't had the pleasure of being there myself, just seeing it, of course, in the Downton Abbey series and the movie. I can imagine myself sitting in one of the many picturesque locations among the property, beautiful, beautiful property at the Highclere Castle, enjoying a cigar, sipping on some gin, and just enjoying the beautiful scenery there. The Highclere Castle Gin is distilled in England's oldest gin distillery. Highclere Castle Gin is a citrus-forward gin using oranges, lemons, and lime flowers grown at Highclere's very own Victorian orangery. The gin uses lavender, planted at Highclere in the 9th century, for a very subtle floral nose. The finish is the smoothest in the world because of the Highclere's grown oats. Highclere is the first gin in the world to use oats. Most gins have a lot of juniper, creating a very piney and strong flavor that turns some people off. The juniper is very dialed back, and this decadent balance is why Highclere Castle Gin has garnered 31 international awards and is on track to becoming the world's most awarded gin. I mentioned that for my martini, I like to garnish it with this little bit of orange rind because I find that those citrus notes that are unique to Highclere Castle, it just really brings forward, better so I believe, in my opinion, than the traditional olive. The little bit of citrus, it really tends to pull out some of those subtle citrus notes found in the Highclere Castle cigar as well, especially in the Edwardian, which is why I believe this is such a beautiful pairing. It's a little bit fancy, a little bit elegant for your everyday type of experience. However, in the times that we find ourselves in lately, it seems like a great reason to just throw on something a little extra fancy, put a little glamour, a little glitz into it, and really experience what Highclere Castle has to offer. Whether it's in the setting of your very own home or with friends or in these virtual times on Zoom calls, and there's been a lot of virtual cocktail parties that I've seen floating around. And it's great to see people embracing not only the different fun cocktails, the great cigars, but also just the lifestyle overall. So the Highclere Castle Edwardian actually made my #1 cigar of the year back in 2018. It's a fabulous, fabulous offering with a beautiful Connecticut wrapper. So the Highclere Castle Edwardian was the first release from Highclere Castle Cigar, created to honor Highclere's tradition of enjoying cigars after dinner, dating back to the 1800s. The cigars were crafted by renowned cigar maker Nick Melillo of Foundation Cigar Company. The flavor profile is reminiscent of the cigars popular amongst gentlemen in the 1920s, sourcing the most expensive Connecticut shade wrapper on the market with a hand-rolled Nicaraguan blend. The cigar is mild yet incredibly smooth with notes of white pepper, pistachio, very woodsy, and a touch of leather. The cigar has won extremely high awards since its launch in 2017 and has become one of the leading boutique Connecticut shades in the industry. As I've mentioned before, every time I light up this cigar, it's smoking elegance, history, tradition. When I think back of what it must have been like in the 1920s, hanging out at the castle, attending some of these beautiful, adorned Edwardian style parties, what an amazing experience. One of the things that drew my attention to the Highclere Castle Gin was actually exploring their website. They actually have recipes that are over 100 years old, dating back to some of the first butlers that were serving at the time. Again, 100 years old, some of these recipes that are still used today in the cocktails that are served at Highclere Castle. What's really neat is if you sign up for the newsletter on Highclere Castle Gin, they send you a digital copy of all these really neat recipes, again, dating back over 100 years. Pretty neat history and something really amazing to take part of. So the Edwardian's balanced, pretty perfect, by the way, flavor profile. It just pairs so nicely together, again, with this very citrus-forward gin. The flavors complement, they don't fight each other. The gin brings out a vanilla and the white pepper of the cigar. The cigar's leather and smokiness accentuate the oats of the gin. The uniqueness of the Highclere Castle Gin is that it's the ultimate palate cleanser for cigars. A unique discovery of the Highclere Castle team. I think they've done a lot of firsthand research at pairing their gin, smoking those cigars, and really it truly is such a palate cleanser, but also it's just a whole different, unique cigar smoking experience. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I hope this changes your overall perspective of pairing cigars with spirits in general. I, for one, had up until trying more of the gin, I've always been somebody who gravitated towards more of the darker spirits, the traditional cognacs, the bourbons, the different whiskey concoctions, even añejo tequilas once in a while. But again, really when you pair it with the gin, whatever fashion you choose to do so, in a martini, they also have this really unique drink that they have at the castle, and I believe it's exclusive to their original butler at the time, the Noble. And it's really neat. It's very simple, very classic, but the way that they feature the gin, it really does come forward, and it cleanses your palate, but it also gives you a chance to really, every puff that you take of your cigar, it accentuates it. And so you're not competing as can be found when you're doing some of those quote unquote more traditional pairings with those darker spirits that I mentioned. Sometimes those spirits tend to overpower the cigar. And so when you pair it this way, it's light, it's fun, it really brings forward the flavor notes of the cigar. However, the gin itself, it kind of sparkles. I mean, it sounds kind of funny, but it just really serves as a really straightforward way to enjoy your pairing, your atmosphere, your experience, and again, what a beautiful way to celebrate life. We are in the 20s once again. That's something that I was watching a video that Adam made, and he mentioned that, and I thought it was such a cute analogy. We are in the 20s again, 100 years later, but how much fun it is to celebrate this way. So as I mentioned, the Noble actually pairs very well with either of the two cigar offerings. So you could do it with the Edwardian or the Victorian, and it's just a fun way to really bring out and kind of play with those different flavors that you find yourself experiencing in both those cigars. The Negroni, though, however, pairs exceptionally well with the Victorian. So the Victorian, part of the Highclere Castle's second release, is one of the newer additions to the Foundation cigar lineup, winning the top 20 cigar from Cigar Aficionado in 2020. This Maduro is a full-bodied cigar, yet shares a sophistication with its brother, the Edwardian. Wrapped in a Habano Cuban seed with Nicaraguan fillers, the cigar is robust and smokes of black pepper, chocolate, coffee, and overall richness. In this case, the gin acts as a refreshing palate cleanser that allows the cigar to shine in between indulgences. Think of a slice of ice-cold cantaloupe between courses. That's a great analogy. Just again, a beautiful offering with that Maduro. It's a little bit more robust again than the Edwardian, of course. With that Negroni, if you have the chance to actually pair that together properly with it, it just really accentuates those flavors. It's a beautiful pairing as well. One that I've indulged myself in a few times now. Just a great experience overall. So the great news is you can actually find this Highclere Castle gin directly on the Highclere Castle gin website. So very easy to obtain. And of course, it wouldn't be a Cigar Vixen video without offering some sort of special promo to you guys watching. So if you recall, a few years ago, I did an event back at Mickey Blakes Cigar Lounge in Connecticut. Beautiful lounge, a lot of fun, great hospitality. And so I teamed up with them again to offer 10% off Highclere Castle cigar boxes. So I definitely recommend getting a couple boxes of each. The Edwardian and the Victorian are beautiful smokes. You can also do a 5-pack of either of the cigars or both. And they have free shipping available for you. So I'll provide the link and all the details below in the body of the video here. And again, I urge you to try out these cigars, grab a couple bottles of the gin, and really to make your experience that much better, jump onto that Highclere Castle Gin website, subscribe to their newsletter, and they actually send you the authentic recipe so you can make the drinks the way that they make them at the castle, the way that they've been making them for 100 years. Back from the original notes that were discovered in the archives by Lady Carnarvon, she found the actual notes from the bartender handwritten of the recipes that they've been doing these drinks. It's so amazing. I mean, talk about history. You were able to experience that, whether it's, again, in the comfort of your own home, dressed up a little bit, or if you're on a Zoom call, if you're on a virtual cocktail party, if you are with friends, if you're entertaining, wherever you may find yourself in the world, definitely a pairing to just really knock it out of the park. It's something like no other experience that you have had. If you have never tried the gin with your cigar, it's an amazing experience. One that is definitely, to me, it's mind-blowing. Because again, I wouldn't have necessarily thought about picking up a gin with my cigar, but it's just such an amazing experience, and one that I hope that all of you watching have experienced or will experience. And I would love to hear your thoughts, your comments. Please post them below. Tag me on Instagram, tag Highclere Castle Gin, Highclere Castle Cigar. Definitely have the party and engage us in that way. And I look forward to reading through all your comments. And I thank you so much for watching. Again, beautiful pairing with the Edwardian and my Highclere Castle Gin Martini with that little bit of orange rind in there to bring forward that beautiful natural citrus notes that come into play anyway. But just a beautiful, beautiful pairing. And in the spirit of entertainment, not only do I cheers you, but I actually invite you to watch some of the videos that Highclere Castle Gin has prepared. They're a lot of fun. They're very informative. They're pretty short and to the point, but again, they kind of gives you a little bit more background, a little bit more spirit as to where they're coming from, how they developed some of these, again, historical recipes, but also just the overall ambiance of smoking a Highclere Castle cigar, pairing it with that beautiful gin. So I invite you to, again, follow the links below so you can watch some of those videos. Cheers.